Ready. Good morning. My name is Dr. Tom Rivera. I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies Emeritus. And again, emeritus means that I've been retired for a couple of years. Today is November the 18th, and it's approximately almost 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're in the Fall Library at Cal State San Bernardino, and we are working on the oral history project for South Colton. And our guests this morning are Mr. Ruben Aguilera. Ruben, welcome this morning to Cal State San Bernardino.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ralph Medina. Ralph, welcome to our project this morning.
Thank you.
Delighted to have both of you. And we will be discussing life as you experienced it when you were growing up in South Colton. We're looking at, possibly if you can relate to us your experiences as a little guy, as a little kid growing up in South Colton, and maybe tell us a little bit about mom and dad, and maybe a little bit about where mom and dad came from. So why don't we start with the idea of, let me start with Ralph. Ralph, were you born and raised in Colton?
I was born and raised in Colton.
When were you born?
When? December the 13th, 1929.
So you're how old now?
I'll be 84 in December.
84 in December. And Ralph, you graduated from Colton
High School, 1948.
1948? 1948. And when you were getting your education in Colton, where did you live in Colton?
I lived in South Colton.
What street?
438 West M.
438 West M in South Colton?
South Colton.
And then you had to walk to which?
Well, we had to walk to school, Garfield or Wilson School. That was grammar, and then junior high, and then to high school.
So Garfield, you went to Garfield Elementary School?
I went to Garfield. Yes.
Kindergarten, first,
Since
second,
kindergarten,
third?
yeah. And then we went to junior high, which was Woodrow Wilson School.
Woodrow Wilson School for what, that was 7th and 8th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th?
I think it was 6th, 7th, and 8th.
6th, 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then from there you went to Colton High School.
Colton High School.
Colton High School. Now tell me, were you the only child in your family?
I was the only boy. There was only two of us, my sister and I.
So that was rare that you only had two children in one family. At the end, it was very, very rare. Yeah. And your dad came to Colton. Do you know?
He came from Mexico when he was about 14 or 15 years old. Coming for a better life.
And Ralph, why Colton?
There were more people there from Colton. So they usually look for a place where there's somebody to give them refuge, where they can come in and have a place to stay.
Oh, so Colton was a place where he knew people from his pueblo in Mexico. Yeah. And it made it easier for him to come to Colton.
Yeah, he didn't come he wasn't educated in Mexico. He never went to school.
Okay.
When he came down here, he he went to school to learn English and learn how to write.
And how old was he when he came to Colton?
He was just a young boy. He was maybe about 14 or 15 years old.
Okay. And what town in Mexico did you say?
He came from the state of Guanajuato.
Guanajuato.
Yeah. My mom came from Guanajuato too, but they didn't know each other up there. They were neighbors from the area, but they didn't know each other until they came down here. Then they met, and they got married when they were about 23 years old.
Oh, they met in Colton?
They met in Colton.
Where did they meet in Colton?
In Colton.
¿En las escondidas? Did they meet in church or in school? Or?
No, they're just neighbors.
They were neighbors. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you said when they got married, your dad was 23?
He's about 23.
23. And do you remember how old your mom was?
She was about 2 years, I think 3 years younger.
Okay, so she must have been 19 or 20
20
or so.
and some years.
And they got married at the Catholic church there in Colton? ¿O se la robó?
No. They got married in church. It was a small wedding because they had no money. but they got married in church.
And your dad worked in Colton?
He worked different jobs, but then he wound up working at a cement plant, which was a typical place where the guys would work there, and you got a job there, and you were set for life.
So he started working at the cement plant?
He started working at the cement plant.
And he was there at the cement plant for?
Oh, maybe 40-some years.
Oh, a long, long time then,
Yeah.
long time.
But he got a rare disease, and he died when he was still working.
Ah, I see.
He got sick, and then he had to retire.
How old was he when he passed away?
He was 59.
He was young.
Yeah.
He was young. And was the cement plant located close to your house?
Oh yes, we lived up in was about 4 blocks from the cement plant.
Oh, very, very.
That made
right
it
there.
easy for all the guys around there working there
Uh-huh.
to live nearby because they could walk to the job.
So most of the people that worked the cement plant lived close by the cement plant.
They mostly all of them.
And
They
that
either ride
barrio-
the bike or whatever. You know.
And that barrio was called La Reserva?
Well, we were near the borderline in La Reserva.
Well, which barrio were you at?
No, we didn't clarify it. You know, well, we were known as from La Reserva.
Okay.
But then we were, I guess, I don't know, we just, because he used to hang around with the Calderia boys, they lived in the other area, and then I hang around with the Reserva boys, which were next door to us.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me. So it was kind of well, we knew each other, you know, we went to school together and everything. There was no difference.
So you guys palled around together, had games together, went to school together, hacían travesuras together.
Yeah, everything was, you know, yeah. No, the Calderia boys were a big family,
Uh-huh.
a bunch of boys.
Uh-huh.
And there were the Calderia boys down there, and then
And who were the Calderias boys was your friend?
Marcos.
Marcos
Marcos,
Calderia.
and Johnny.
Johnny Calderia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me move over to Ruben. Ruben, born and raised in Colton?
No, we arrived here when I was 5 years old, I think, from La Habra, Whittier, Rancho Colorado, in Orange County. Then I was born in La Habra.
Oh, okay, okay. You were about 5 years old when you came to Colton?
Mhm.
And why did mom and dad decide to come to Colton?
Well, Mom came to Colton with my grandpa. We came with my grandpa. My dad stayed wherever it was in Mexico, as far as I know.
Uh-huh.
And we came with my grandpa to Colton,
What was your grandfather's name?
Filomeno Garcia.
Okay.
And
And
I
your
went-
mom, what was your mom's name?
Well, they called her Chana, but her name was Crescencia.
Okay, okay.
And my grandpa got work there at the cement plant, just like Ralph says. Most of them either worked at the cement plant or at the PFE, repairing the boxcars or putting the ice in the boxcars, until when Kaiser finally showed up. My stepfather started working there at Kaiser.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That was in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Now, in growing up in Colton, where did you go to school?
Well, all the people that I know of say that I was like an Uncle Tom.
Why were you an Uncle Tom? Is that a good thing? Because my name is Tom. Eh?
Well, that's what they called him when you were supposed to be a Mexican, but you were going to the white schools.
Oh, you went to the white school?
Well, according to them, the white
Okay,
schools.
okay.
The schools were above the railroad track.
Oh, north of the railroad tracks?
The railroad track
Okay.
was the dividing line of South Colton and North Colton. And those were above the railroad track.
Oh, north of the railroad tracks?
The railroad track
Okay.
was the dividing line of South Colton and North Colton. And the school that I got enrolled to was at the top of the hill on the north side of the railroad tracks on 3rd Street.
What was the name of the school?
Grant School, U.S. Grant School.
And you started there kindergarten all the way through 5th or 6th?
I went through, to 6th grade
Okay.
at Grant School, and then went down the hill to Roosevelt Junior High School, which was part of that Uncle Tom. So, and then after Roosevelt, that was only, it became, at that time it became 6, 7, 8, and then it went back to 7th and 8th.
Now,
And then high school.
now, Ruben, how did you happen to wind up north of the railroad track? Where did you live?
I lived on L Street, west of 3rd, but I don't know exactly how I wind up over there, but that's where my mother took me to Grant School.
And the name of your barrio was what?
Well, Beverly Hills, they called
Beverly
it.
Hills. Now we know the reason, Ralph, why he went to those other schools.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills barrio.
Well, that one was at the base of the cement plant, Slover Mountain. The Slover Mountain had the story that it was bought from some Indian for practically nothing. So,
Yeah. And they started producing cement there in 1881, creo. In
Yeah.
1881. It just closed down just in the 90s or so. Both of you went to Colton High School?
mhm.
Both of you went to
Yes.
Colton High School? And Ralph, you graduated from Colton High School when?
1948.
40, and you, Ruben?
51,
In 51?
1951.
And what was your experience like at Colton High School? I know that you were very involved with athletics.
Well, I never had any problems there at high school, but it's just like it is now that when a person of a different race gets to a town, they normally look or try to find out where the barrio is, or where is the Mexican area, and where is the other area that you're not supposed to be. So that's what came up there at the school, and most of the time at the high school, the majority of the Mexicanos, men mostly, would run home for lunch. And if there was some that took lunch, it was usually what they call burritos now, but to us they were tacos.
Tacos, yeah.
Tacos,
That's
yeah.
right.
And you'd gather over there where estaban todos los mexicanos comiendo los tacos for their lunch. Because they didn't want to come out into the open to the gringo to show them what they were eating. The gringos were eating their sandwiches, and we were eating our tacos.
Les da vergüenza entonces.
Well, I guess you would call it. It was, to me, it wasn't vergüenza. It was just not sharing what we ate with them, because some of them, the gringos, wanted to see what we were eating, and they would, I'll trade you a sandwich for one of your tacos. I've had one of them before, and they're good.
Yeah, they liked them.
Yeah, they swap.
Yeah.
But los Mexicanos didn't really care too much for the peanut butter and jelly.
That's right.
So there was an area where you guys would hang out and have your tacos,
Yeah.
and during the lunch hour, and some of the kids would run home and go for lunch. Now, Ralph, what about in your case? Did you experience something like that where you were in high
Yes.
school?
Yeah. I think it was very common at that time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if you had a white friend that would be your close friend, you give him a taco,
Uh-huh.
and he'd give you a sandwich, or even if you just give it to him, just here, have one, Because usually your mom would put you in more than what you needed.
Oh, okay.
Well, see, that's one of the things that I find kind of weird. That now they call them burritos, and to us they were just tacos.
Right.
Yeah.
Made out from anything.
Right.
Whatever.
Whatever was left over.
Yeah, beans, rice, potatoes.
Yeah.
Huevo,
some bologna,
potatoes,
huevo.
bologna.
With some
Yeah.
chili. Oh, let's not forget too, another thing that we had the other school, San Salvador School.
Oh, okay. Tell me about San
And some of
Salvador.
those, some like the Isagiris that lived on 4th and I think it's 3rd and M, they went to San Salvador. They were part of the people that lived on 5th Street went to San Salvador Grammar School.
So San Salvador was on Mount Slover and Rancho Boulevard, 5th Street in that area, eh?
Aguamansa.
Bog.
Aguamansa.
Aguamansa, I'm sorry, Aguamansa.
Right at the base of the cement plant.
Right.
But
right.
see, that was a county school.
Oh, was it?
It was a county
County
school.
school.
It wasn't part of the Colton schools. It was county, run by the county.
Yeah. Now, Ralph, did you play sports while you were in high
No,
school?
I never played sports.
Uh-huh. You were always working that.
I was underweight.
You were, what do you mean you were underweight?
Underweight and scared. No, I didn't play no sports.
No.
No.
Were you always working after school or during?
While working, I would go with my uncle. One of my uncles used to be an orange picker,
Okay.
La Bolucha.
Right, La Bolucha.
Uh-huh. And on Saturdays, he'd take me.
The
with
rata.
The rata, yeah. That'd be the one that picks the bottom.
The rata would be the one that picks the bottom.
The bottom,
Okay.
Because I was too young to get a ladder.
Uh-huh.
So I'd be there helping him, trying to learn. And then one day he caught me lifting the ladder, trying to balance it on my shoulder. And he started laughing. He said, "You think you can make it?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." He said, "Well, next year, the next cycle, the next year, we'll give you a try."
Uh-huh.
And then the next year, I tried it. I was kind of unbalanced,
Uh-huh.
going back and forth, but I made it. I wasn't too much of a good picker anyway, but I tried it. Some of those guys could make a lot of lugs.
Well, a lot of boxes, they were big, huge orange crates that they had to fill either with oranges or lemons or toronjas, grapefruit.
They had those lugs they were about that big.
Right.
They
right.
paid per lug.
And the equipment to pick oranges, you had what? A saco.
Yeah, the sight on the shoulder, and then the clippers,
Tijera.
and you'd fill up the sack on the tree, and then you dump it in the box,
Yeah,
and you put them where the truck could pick them up later on
yeah.
with your number that you were given to keep a record on your whatever you picked.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And many of our guys that lived in Colton picked oranges. Many of the guys, because we had
Yes.
contractors that I remember when I was in junior high school, I picked oranges, and the contractor would pick us up in front of the park where the big rock is at the Veterans
Yeah, the
Park.
Veterans Park, yeah.
We'd get in the big covered truck, flatbed truck that was covered on all sides, and then we'd head over to the orange grove, and like paratroopers, we'd jump out of the truck and
Yeah, that's right,
get our
yeah,
ladders, put on our sacks,
Your parachute.
our parachutes, and then our clippers, and off and at it, Yeah.
Don Juan Colunga, let's see,
What a contractor.
yeah, and El Zarco, Murataya.
Murataya was also a contractor.
El Gordo.
El
El Gordo
Gordo.
Baristo.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and then Señor Rivas,
Mm-hmm.
Don Juan Rivas or Chiche Rivas. And
And,
Juan Colunga.
Yeah. A veces que piscabas con Orgoya.
Yeah.
You picked with who?
Orgoya.
There was that measure for the size of the lemon, wasn't it?
Oh.
The size when I started it was on account of la toronja.
Oh, toronja.
Yeah, they wanted
Certain
a
size.
certain size, and you had to learn. You only tried that thing on some of them until you got the eye to where that one's good enough. You didn't have to go measure them
Okay.
anymore, you know.
So
Tomas Velasquez was a contractor too.
Yeah.
So Ralph and Ruben, tell me for the contracts. You mentioned Tomas Velasquez. You mentioned Evaristo Castillo, le hacían el gordo. You mentioned Rivas. What was his first name?
Juan Rivas.
Juan Rivas. You mentioned Juan Colunga. Any others?
There was another guy near
¿Qué hacía el frijol?
el Frijol.
Did he have a?
I think el Frijol, yeah, that nickname.
Who was el Frijol? What was his name? Real
From the
name?
Reserva.
He was from La Reserva. I don't know what his. Araiza was his last name.
Uh-huh.
Araiza.
Yeah, el Frijol y el Frijolito, remember?
Yeah.
Short and kind of chunky.
So we had about 5 contractors in Colton, eh?
Yeah.
There was, what's his name? Right there on 4th and L.
Fourth and L?
4th and L. He used to work for. He wound up working for the city towards the end. What's his name? He used to have a truck too. He used to take people up there.
So that would be number 6 then.
Yeah, and then we have another one, El Águila de Palo.
¿El qué?
Águila de Palo. That was his nickname.
Águila de Palo.
De Palo,
Del
yeah.
Palo.
Yeah.
And where did you?
His real name, I never knew his real name. That was, what's he called? El Águila de
Yeah.
Palo.
So we had a number of contractors there that would take
Yeah.
us, all of us,
As long as they had a truck,
Yeah.
they would be able to get in contact.
and contact a citrus grower, and then
And then they'd
and
hire
then work,
take people.
and then work it out, and then bring in the workers to pick the crop. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about sports, Ruben. You played sports in high school. What did you play?
Football, basketball, track. Tried senior year. I tried baseball for a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
valí gorro.
Well, you tried anyway. That was good.
Did you letter?
Yes. I lettered in football, and I lettered in basketball, and I lettered in track. So,
So you were pretty good then.
well, you have to remember that I went to the Gringo School, the junior high.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And ahí en la Roosevelt estaba el maestro Carson Finch.
Yeah, I
and
remember the name.
And he was the one that was into basketball quite strong.
Uh-huh.
And he's the one that gave the high school all the stars that played basketball, because they all went through
His
the junior high there.
His program.
Yeah,
They went through his program.
yeah, he's the one that taught them everything about basketball, or taught us, put it that way.
What about football? What position did you play in football?
For being short, I played left end. So, pero más para andar ahí que entre la bola is what it amounted to.
Uh-huh. But you lettered. You said
Even
you
with the
lettered.
boys, that's okay.
Yeah, well, see, también en ese tiempo, en el tiempo de Ralph, at that time, there wasn't too many Mexicanos going into sports, for the simple reason that the word had gotten out that el McIntosh no quería a los mexicanos. And
Now, who was McIntosh? Who was
he was
McIntosh?
the principal and the superintendent of the high school.
Oh, okay. So he was, superintendent principal of the high school.
Yeah,
And the word got out.
yeah, that he didn't really care for too much de los mexicanos in sports. They really had to be real good athletes in order to be in the sports. So a lot of them never even went or tried the sports. And then the other thing too, that the guy that came from Bloomington, but he was involved with the county museum so much that he did more for the county museum because his boss was Dr. Smith. And if you knew Dr. Smith was the one that had the county going left and right. So, and the guy that was in charge over there at Grand Terrace, he didn't want it either, so he quit. And I wound up taking Grand Terrace, and the guy that was over here at Bloomington was too involved with the county, because if anything came up with the county, the superintendent at that time was Smith. Smith would call him, and he'd drop everything that had to do with the school district to go take care of the county stuff. So I wound up with that one too.
And how many years were you with the school district?
40,
40 years.
40,
Now,
42 more or less.
42. Now, when did you meet your wife? In
Uh,
high school also?
no, I was in the service. I was stationed. I was stationed at El Toro, and I used to hitchhike from El Toro to Colton almost on a daily basis, and I hitchhiked back. And when I hitchhiked back on one Sunday or a couple of Sundays, I'd go by Rudy Contreras' house there on L Street, this side of the railroad track. And I'd stop by there and shoot the shit before I went to La Cadena to put out my thumb. And I stopped by there, and he started telling me that his cousin that lived there, her good friend was my wife, because they had a little clique of 4 or 5 girls that were always together. Yeah. So he told me, he said, why don't you ask so-and-so? She wants to meet you, she wants to go out with you, and all that bullshit that goes with it, right?
I don't know.
So I told him, well, yeah. So he told his cousin Alice, and she went and got on the phone and called her, and about half hour, I guess, she showed up. So that's how we started.
What's her name?
Josie
Josie. And her last name?
Rodriguez.
Josie Rodriguez. And you've been married how many years now?
Well, we'll have 59 in April.
And how many kids?
3 kids,
And
nine grandchildren, and 13 great-grand.
Good. That's a
So-
good-sized family también. Let me switch over. I just thought about it, but we only have a few more minutes to go, but I wanted to hit this. Ralph, you're very Catholic, ¿verdad?
Yes.
You're very, very Catholic. I don't know about you, Ruben.
What?
Being a Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Tell me about, because you live around the corner from the church, Ralph, and you've always gone to Sunday, and you've always participated in church activities. And you knew Father Valencia very, very well. Eh?
Yeah, he was well known with everybody.
Yeah, tell me about, he was there in the 30s, middle 30s, I think, until he passed away in the 50s or so. Tell us about Padre Valencia.
He was really a very popular priest because he liked sports. He would always back up his Colton boys. Basketball, handball, for anything for Colton, you know. Because he knew all the boys that played the sport.
Because they were all part of his parish.
Yeah. He always backed them up. He used to take his car.
He always load up his car with boys to go to the game.
Yeah, go to the games, take them to the
And I
game.
remember was it a Plymouth, a white Plymouth, a
Yeah.
47
Yeah,
or so?
41, wasn't it?
Somewhere in there.
Something like that. Yeah.
Was it a Plymouth, a white Plymouth, a
Yeah.
47
Yeah,
or so?
41, wasn't it?
Somewhere in there.
Something like that. Yeah. He used to take a whole bunch of kids in the trunk, in the back of the car, and it was a coupe.
Yeah.
So, but he took them anyway. But he always went to the games. Yeah.
And he was also, you made signs of being a handball player.
Rebotero.
Yeah.
Rebotero.
He was a rebotero. He played handball.
Oh yeah, well, there used to be courts in the high school, and after high school there would always be a bunch of them that would gather there and see who beat who.
Yeah.
Además que el padre era padre, pero también era muy chapucero.
Yeah, I remember that people saying that.
Chapucero means that he kind of
Use it
fixed
for
the
his
game a
own
little bit.
purpose, yeah.
He bent the truth a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay. When he played handball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he was very, very supportive of all the guys that were in his parish in terms of encouraging them to play ball and supporting them by attending these sports activities. And also he participated in handball.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever went to the Reboteros there on L Street, ahí de los Torres.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you ever seen that wall or not, but that was a tall wall. How tall was that wall? Fred?
Oh, excuse me, that was another name too for them, the Reboteros, remember?
Uh-huh.
You used to call them the Torres, the Reboteros.
Yeah, they built that big tall wall, and they used to have. I never did see them, but they used to have tournaments there, the rebotes, on the older people que iban a jugar rebote on that big damn wall.
And who was the Torres? Who were the Torres?
Paul Torres.
Paul
Torres.
Tony Torres.
Okay.
Tony was his older brother.
Okay.